What's up? So my name is Levi and I'm currently a junior in high school, and this video is just me talking about the most important things that I've learned through high school. And I'm also going to be asking some of my friends that same question, and their answers will be like spread out throughout the video. The first thing I want to talk about in this video is the idea that high school isn't everything. And I think that it is bad if you think that way. If you think your entire life should be around high school, I think you're limiting how you can grow. Because high school is important, right? You can get a degree, you can get an education, you can learn a couple of things like socially and like how to learn and stuff like that. But overall, there's so many things that you can't learn from high school that you have to learn outside of high school. While high school is important for all of us, I think that we should have a life outside of it. We should have hobbies that we do outside of it. And there's some people, you might not be this type of person that stresses over school. Like if you have a missing assignment or you got like a C on one quiz or like one classwork grade, people stress out crazy like that. And I think that school, like I said, is important, but we shouldn't be making ourselves stress over it because it's just a number, right? At the end of the day, if you do good on everything else, it won't matter. Or even if you get a B, it's like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter that much. So I think you shouldn't overly stress yourself out about it, or you shouldn't focus your entire life around it. You should be a person outside of high school. You know how they say like you're a student athlete? Well, you should be a person that's a student that's an athlete, right? You should value who you are more than like your identity as a student or a person that goes to high school. I like to zoom out, right? We are humans created in an incredibly complex world, and I'm worried about some assignment for English. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Pretty much what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't stress yourself out over school, and you should have like hobbies and stuff outside of school because you're a person that's a student. You're not a student, right? There's more to you than high school. So do that, right? Have like hobbies outside of high school. Like for me, I do YouTube, I go to the gym, I do stuff like that, right? You can have like maybe you play chess or something. I play chess a little bit too. So be a person outside of school, right? Because if you're just a student, then you're limiting who you are as an individual. Like for me, right? When I leave school, I kind of have like this policy I made. I don't do homework at home for the most part. There might be like an occasion where I'll be like, okay, I'll do some work, but I try to make my lives separate. I'll try to be a student from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I'm a person outside of that, right? I try to separate those lives completely. Like you don't have to do that personally, but that's my policy. I try to be a person outside of high school. I try to just never I think high school is important to me, but like it's not the most important thing. I think that stuff that I enjoy is more important than high school. So to say it one more time, don't stress yourself out over high school and don't think high school is the most important thing in the world because it's not. I think you as an individual is more important than being a student. The second thing I want to talk about is the social hierarchy that is in the school, right? There's the cool people at the very top, and the lower you get down the hierarchy, the more weird you are, right? And what I want to say about this is that it doesn't matter. Like, there's no value in this hierarchy. There's no reason to stress about it. There's no reason to respect people more because they're higher up on it. Because, like, it's another example of zooming out. If you zoom out, we're a bunch of 16-year-olds just in a school. Like, in 4 years, we're all gonna be out of high school, and nobody's gonna care. Like, oh, you were one of the popular guys, one of the cool people. Like, you're 26, dude. What are you talking about? Like, that's high school. That's not very important. So don't value people more because they're higher up on there. And it usually, not all the time, like there's exceptions of course, but the popular guys or the cool guys, they don't always have the best lives afterwards. And one of my friends has something to say about this. I'll pull it up real quick. We're gonna keep his name private, right? But he says, so pretty much the major thing I've learned is that your reputation does not matter, and that you should try to participate and experience as much as you can while you are still in high school, whether you think it may be a little embarrassing or not. And that's kind of going with what I was saying, right? Like the high school hierarchy, like at first when we're all like younger, we probably were like, oh, it's important. But the more that you grow up and you actually realize it's like it doesn't matter. So don't stress yourself out about it. Don't try to be one of the cool guys. Don't give it any value. Treat everyone the same, whether like no matter where they are in that scale, because it has no value and nobody here in high school has that much value to begin with. So it's like don't value it. I feel like the more you don't care about like the social hierarchy, the social rankings and stuff like that, the more enjoyment you get out of life. I think that the more you care about it, it's like a slope. It's like linear. The more you care about it, the less of a good time you're gonna have. And you probably think that I hate high school, right? The way I've been talking about high school, it seems like I hate it. Like I'm its number one advocate for like its demise. But I actually like high school. And I think that high school is a lot better than we make it out to be, right? We always worry about grades, we always worry about the social standing, but if we just take the time to appreciate the amount of social interaction we get from it and the amount of things we can learn from it, like and have friends from it, I feel like it's so good, right? There's no other time in life where you have this much social interaction. Like I used to think that school was boring. I used to hate going to school. But now that I've realized that school it's important not because it's about the grades and stuff, but because about the people. I think that the more you socialize in school, the better time you will have. I used to hate school because I was taking it too seriously. I'm not saying you should fail your classes. I'm still like a straight A student, but I focus more now on talking to my friends rather than focusing on the material. I focused way more on what they were teaching than the people around me, and that's why I hated school. So, if I could give you a piece of advice, it would be to try to talk to more people. If you hate school, if you think it's boring, try to focus more on the social aspect. Because when I discarded the social aspect of high school, that's when I thought I hated it. That's when I thought it was boring. But once I started focusing on that aspect, making more friends, like not trying to be popular, but like, just interacting with other people that are like me, that's when I started enjoying high school a lot more. So if you have that problem, I feel like you're maybe being too serious about high school. You should try to lighten up a little bit. Try to like still get good grades, obviously. Sure, pay attention in class, but try to talk to more people. High school is a great place, right? It may be boring if you focus entirely on the grades and on the assignments, but if you take your time to focus on the social aspect of high school, I think you'll come to enjoy it. The next thing I want to tell you guys, you might have already noticed, since ninth grade started for me, time has been flying a lot faster. I feel like every year is almost like doubling in speed. Maybe not that fast, but like, you get what I'm saying? Each year that I progress, the faster it feels. So don't waste the time that you have as a kid. Don't waste the time that you have as being a high schooler because that's when you have the least amount of responsibility in your life. Once you leave high school, you're an adult. And once you're an adult, you're going to have to make decisions that are like you've never done before. It's going to be a new experience. So don't waste the time that you have as a high schooler. Make sure that you socialize with people, have some friends, get some good grades, and actually improve yourself. Like use the time that you don't have as many responsibilities to prepare yourself for when you do have them. Because soon you're going to be on your own. So enjoy high school, but also make sure you set some time aside to improve yourself so that you'll be ready for the future. One of my friends has something to say about this topic, so I'm just going to read it out loud. You can dread these years, but don't waste them. I know a lot of people who dread being in school and can't wait to graduate, and I understand that feeling. I would still advise everyone who is looking forward to graduation to still make the most of the time they have in high school so that they can take advantage of the opportunities that they are given. And I get what he's saying, right? There's a lot of people who just try to rush as fast as possible. I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave. But then they realize that they aren't prepared to leave. They realize that they don't have the skills that they need. If they just stayed in high school, if they just focused on improving themselves during high school, then they'd have a very good head start. And I think he says something like that later. Let's just keep reading. So, at least at our school that we go to because we're classmates, our school, we have classes that you can get first aid certified, OSHA certified, certain skills for trades, and college credits that can potentially save you money and time, right? Just to name a few. Someone who is only doing the bare minimum to make it by won't ever take advantage of these things, which will just put more pressure on them later in life. If you can just suck it up and put in the work and effort for 4 years, then you can give yourself a pretty good head start. So, what he's saying pretty much is don't be somebody who just lets all the time get past them. Don't be somebody who wastes these 4 years because these 4 years may be some of the most important in your entire life. And I'm not trying to scare y'all by saying, oh, if you mess up 1 year, you're dead. Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is make sure that you do something to improve yourself in these next 4 years because I think they can really change how your future is for the rest of your life. If you waste these 4 years, then you're going to have to spend a lot of time catching up. But if you use these 4 years to dedicate yourself to improving yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your skills, stuff like that, if you use these 4 years to actually, it's like investing 4 years so that you can have a better life in the future. I think you should do that. If you waste that time, then it's like you can still get by, but you'd have a lot better life if you use these 4 years in high school to prepare yourself for the future. And now that I'm reading some of his other responses, because I'm kind of reading it with you guys like for the first time, I want to read this one as well. It's not really about the exact same topic, but I was kind of talking about it a little bit. So he also says, we need to seek growth because our lives are only just beginning. If there's any span of 4 years where you're going to change the most as a person, it's probably high school. Going into high school, you're just a teenager who isn't even allowed to drive. And by the end of high school, you're a full-blown adult. And that's true, like I was saying earlier. These 4 years can be the most important in your entire life. So we need to focus on improving ourselves. And like, if you ever take economics class with, I have a teacher who's really good. We'll call him Fly Guy. And he taught me about investing and stuff like that. If you invest these 4 years into building yourself, then in the next 15, that might like, those 4 years may like become like as if you worked 30. If you make the most out of these 4 years, then they'll be worth a lot more than 4 years in the future. I was kind of a weird example, but I just wanted to, it was just a random thought that I had. So let's keep reading this, right? I forgot to finish the sentence that he said, so I'll reread the full sentence. So, going into high school, you're just a teenager who isn't allowed to drive, and by the end of high school, you're a full-blown adult, which includes taking on a ton of responsibilities. One major focus you should have is making sure that you're taking these years to grow as a person, so that you can be ready for the life after school. They don't need to be huge changes, but just a few changes that will positively impact your health and mindset. And then they will go a long way. I don't know why I'm talking like this. My bad. You want to be able to at least reflect on the person you were a year ago and be able to truthfully think for yourself, I've changed for the better. For me, one huge change I made was the gym. I've set goals for myself in the gym that I always try to exceed. And I think that any real hobby that you take up that has a path of progression and truly challenges you to learn and grow will change not just who you are, but how you see the world. And that's kind of the same for me too. I started going to the gym when I was like 12 or something like that. So I got a head start among a lot of other people. But when I was 12, I think since I started going to the gym, I started reading the Bible. My life and my mindset and the way I thought changed so much. Like I'm a completely different person than I was 4 years ago. And of course, that makes sense. Like a kid that's a teenager, he changes the most in those 4 years. But if you do a hobby that can challenge you and you go through challenges like self input, like you put yourself through hardship, then that really changes who you are and it makes you so much better. So that's what he was talking about, how the gym really helped him. Any hobby that challenges you and makes you think and make you have to be better, I think will make you better. Another important change I've made in the past 2 years was finding God. I didn't always believe in God, but when I truly started exploring Jesus, I found faith in him that I thought I would never have. That faith in Jesus has transformed me into a happier, humbler, and more confident person. And I'll always advocate for this. I think God is the most important part of self improvement because you can kind of give yourself a filler improvement, like you might have bigger muscles, but at the end, a relationship with God is eternal. And if we don't know the Father, if we don't know Jesus, if we don't know the Holy Spirit, then we don't have anything really. Everything here is finite, but a relationship with God is infinite. And I can say the same. I've personally seen how my life has improved as I've had a relationship with God. And that doesn't mean that it's always going to be the best. It's not always going to be very prosperous. But I think that because I have a relationship with God, when things do go bad, I won't see it as terrible because I know that my father is watching over me. You know what I'm saying? So a relationship with God, the gym, stuff like that are very important. And I think that if you take those on, that can really help you improve your life. If you do want to know how to be saved, I have a video in the description, or I'll put it up there. Or actually, you can't. Oh, I can't point to it. In the corner of the screen, there'll be a video on how to be saved if you're interested in that. But yeah, let's keep moving on. Like I was talking about earlier, or just kind of like the circle back, the cool people or the popular people are usually like either regular Joes or they're losers in the future, right? So don't respect these people any more than you respect anybody else, right? Don't be like, oh, that guy knows everybody, so I'm gonna treat him better than this chump down here. You know, like you should treat both of them individually like the same. And the cool guys usually do drugs, they go to parties, they do dumb things, right? They may look cool, but when you zoom out, they're 16-year-olds just making dumb decisions. Don't try to be like them. Don't try to fit in with them. Be who you are and make good decisions that will improve your life. And don't do decisions that will like make it worse. Like vaping, for instance. Vaping is like actually retarded because it's some people see it as cool. A lot of people now they just think you're like dumb for doing it. But and I agree with them. But vaping, people try to look cool by doing it or something like that, or they're just addicted. And it's just making your body worse. It's like just like punching your lungs like continuously. It's like, why are you doing this? Don't try to fit in with them because they usually just make dumb decisions and your life will be worse if you try to be like them. So don't try to be popular because usually being popular also means being a low value person. Although sometimes there's exceptions. Like, of course, there's some dude who might know everybody who's also a really cool guy and he's like a D1 offer or something like that. But most of the time, if you're trying to be popular, you're just a loser. The next thing I want to talk about is grades because although they're not the most important thing, I think they are a good thing that you should have. So for my credentials, I have like a 4.2 something GPA. I'm doing college classes in high school, so I'm doing dual enrollment, and I usually just take all honors classes, which isn't too crazy. Like I'm just saying I'm somebody who knows how to get good grades, right? I'm not the best of the best, but I'm definitely above average. And like I said earlier, I don't study outside of school. I don't really study in general, unless it's like vocab or it's like something that you need to memorize. If you want to get good grades or at least like passing grades, here's what I suggest. I would say just pay attention in class, right? This isn't to say that you can't talk at all, but like make sure you know what's going on. If you want to get good grades, it's probably if you don't have good grades right now, it's probably because you don't pay attention. For me, what I do to get good grades is I just pay attention in class. And I know that's like a well, duh, but I think if you truly just try to grasp the material while you're sitting down and then try to study for it if you don't know it in school, like I don't think you even need to study outside of school really, unless you're taking like hard AP classes like AP Chem or something. I can see you doing stuff outside of school for that. But if you're just like in honors classes, I think you can do everything inside of school. Just pay attention, and that means you can still talk to friends, but just make sure you know what's going on. If you don't know, ask questions. and try to like learn from other people. And if you need to do an assignment, like for me, if I have an assignment, I just do it in another class. I don't like, I guess I'm lucky because I've always just gotten straight A's, but I feel like this advice is so obvious, but I hope it helps somebody. Just pay attention in class and do everything in school. Use your time efficiently. Don't waste a bunch of time. If you have an assignment due, you can talk to friends, but make sure you get that assignment done in class. So unless you're taking hard APs, like if you're trying to be a better student than me, then yeah, study and like go outside of school and study that stuff. But if you're just trying to graduate with a decent GPA, all you need to do is pay attention in class and use your time efficiently. Also, don't cheat all the time, especially if it's for an important subject like history or like economics, stuff like that where you can actually learn from the situations that they're talking about. Don't cheat in them. Like of course, if you're going into like journalism, you can cheat in science or whatever and it's like who cares, right? But if you're trying to go into a STEM field, why would you use AI? Why would you cheat? You need to know that stuff. If you're trying to become like a somebody in a specific field, you need to actually know that stuff. So don't cheat, especially if it's an important class. If you pay attention to the classes that actually matter, stuff like history, stuff like economics, stuff like civics, if you pay attention in those classes, your life will actually get better. Like I understand not paying attention in math because it's boring, but pay attention in history at least, and that counts as like civics and economics and stuff. And just pay attention to classes that will change your life, that will actually help you become better. And this isn't necessarily connected to what I was talking about like earlier, but this is just something my friend said, so I wanted to include it in the video. So I asked him, what are like two things that you learned from high school? And this is what he said. He said, it's a good place to learn how to socialize and like make connections with people. And also like how to read situations. Basically like school teaches you to be more socially intelligent. And then he also said that school is also a good place to learn how to take notes and like listening ability. He tells y'all to pretty much be like, hey, try to socialize and try to take up some abilities that can help you in the future. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is other people, right? I've been talking about the popular people and like how you shouldn't try to be like them. But what I was talking about specifically here is how we should all try to improve ourselves to the best of our abilities. And the people around us can influence how we act, how we become a new person, right? Like if you have a five group, like a group of five friends, right? And you go this way. If you had another group of five friends and like a separate universe or whatever, you could go a different direction. The people that surround you influence who you're going to be in the future. If you surround yourself with bad people, people who just are either just jerks or they have no interest in improving themselves, they just want to rot away, then you're going to be more like that, right? If you surround yourself with people that want to improve themselves as they want to be the best version of themselves, then you're going to probably go more towards that path. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you should check who you're surrounding yourself with. If they don't want to be like you in the future, if they don't want to be like better versions of themselves, then I wouldn't align with them. Like I'm not saying cut them off like you guys suck. Like you can be cool with them still, but like just distance yourself. Because if you stop talking to somebody, they'll probably stop talking to you. That's how it works. So if you think that, hey, if I stick around these people, I'm not going to be the best version of myself, I'm not going to be the person I want to be, then it'd probably be best if you like got away from them. You have to surround yourself with people that will bring you up and not pull you down. And it's the same principle for the content that you consume. If you're on TikTok every day, 5 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours a day, I don't know how you get 10 hours, but if you're on TikTok or like brain rot or like short form content for so long every single day, then you're going to be a worse version of yourself. It's the same thing with the content you consume. If you consume, let's say, 5 creators' content and 4 of them are brain rot, you're going to be more going in that direction. So it's not only the people you surround yourself with, but the content that you consume that you must be wary of. I genuinely think that brain rot kills your brain. I think you become like more subhuman the more that you spend on short form content, or at least brain rot to be specific. Like definitely brain rot, maybe some short form content if it's like teachable, but even then I'd probably try to stay away from it. But yeah, just be careful who you stick around and who you consume content from. And one of my friends said something about this as well, so let me just change the camera real quick. This is what he said. So he says, don't try to be friends with everyone. A lot of people can sometimes treat high school as a popularity contest. We were talking about that earlier in the video, where they need to be friends with everybody. But I don't really agree with that, he says. He says, you might have heard before that you are the 5 people closest to you, which I was just talking about, which basically means that the 5 people closest to you influence who you are as a person. Keeping that into consideration, I try to make sure that people in my life are not the people that are going to influence me in a way that will be harmful to my overall character. And that's a very smart thing to do. If you like, I mean, it's the same point. It's legit the exact same thing I just said. If you surround yourself with bums, you're gonna be a bum. If you surround yourself with me, no, if you surround yourself with good people, then you're gonna be more like them. It's also the same with the content that you consume. But let's go back to this, right? So he said, he said, I make sure that the people in my life are not the people that are going to influence me in a way that will be harmful to my overall character. I found that the best way to do this is to be selective with who you form relationships with, making sure you are focusing on the people who have a positive impact on you. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't be friendly with everyone or that we shouldn't try to make connections, only that we should distance ourselves from the people that would drag us down. Like, this isn't planned. We're saying the exact same thing. So the fact that we're both saying the exact same thing probably means that it's an important thing to know. Really remember this. If you've gotten to this far in the video, you've probably you've been paying attention for a while because it's like a 20-minute video. So thank you for watching this far. But take note of that. The people that you are around, they influence you the most. The content you consume influences you the most. Keep that in mind. That's one of the most important things from this video. I mean, it's crazy. We were saying the exact same thing. Like this is my first time really reading this. Like I made this whole script and then like a week later, I asked all of them for their opinions. So this is crazy that we're saying the exact same thing. But okay, so he said the part about not being around people that drag him down. He says he quotes 1 Corinthians 15:33. He says that warns us that bad company ruins good morals, which is pretty much the point I'm trying to make here. I'll pull up the verse real quick as well. Oh, okay. So it's just exactly what he said, pretty much. The full verse. Let me go to. So it's pretty much exactly what he said. Let me just pull the full verse up real quick. Okay, so what this is just the verse right here. Do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. I don't know is the exact word for word, pretty much what he said. But yeah. But yeah, that's all I got. I've been editing and recording for a while now, so I feel kind of tired. I'm sorry if the editing or the video feels kind of weird or I'm repeating stuff. I haven't recorded in a little while, so it's kind of like I guess I wasn't used to it. So I'm sorry if it was kind of confusing. Hopefully it wasn't. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. But yeah, if you'd like to learn how to be saved, like I said, I have a video in the description right here as well. And if you'd like to learn how to start self-improvement, I have a video right here. Thanks for watching. Praise God.